Hello everybody and welcome to the Fashion Bunker. Dacob here. We're going to be talking in just like that, episode 7, Sex and the Widow. First I read window and I was like, she is in the window at the beginning of the episode. So is this episode all going to play out like in a theater, like through the opening of a window, like the ending of a Pedro Almodovar movie in the 80s? Does anybody remember Labyrinth of Passions? That's exactly how the movie ended. But anyway, welcome everybody. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today, gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon for extra perks as well. superdacob all spelled together there. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed in front of a virtual live audience. Welcome, live audience. You guys, I live stream. Oh, Carrie Bradshaw is in the house already. I live stream every Saturday. Everybody's invited to join the live streams. We have a lot of different topics and conversations. All my videos get pre-recorded on a Saturday live. So it's a show. And here you guys are. We're going to be reviewing Sex and the City episode 7, Sex and the Widow. And just like that, we're only 3 episodes away to the end of And Just Like That, season 1. Or Sex and the City, season 7. Ish, if you may. So, let's get straight to it. I'm here on time for once. Oh, Carrie, you're so fashionably late usually. I'm kind of surprised. And just like that, I couldn't help but wonder, is everything all right with Carrie? She's on time for once. The only thing that Windows and me have in common is spreading wide open. Miranda's puppy eyes and breathing heavily a Che emoji insert here. Right, Jackie? I also felt like Miranda in this episode was a puppy. I mean, at the auction event when she saw Che, first of all, she just dropped Carrie like a hot potato. Oh, Carrie was dropped like a tater. Carrie was like a tater. She's like in the middle of a sentence like, okay, and oh, okay. And Miranda hops off because she saw Che. And she's like, oh, Che. Oh. Blingy, blingy eyes, starry eyes. I'm a sex writer, says Carrie. Yes, you are, darling. I loved this episode, said Ollie. Watched it 2 times. Okay. So let's address like the many elephants in the room, which are all those reviews out there that are, and I'm realizing this more and more and more with every week. At the beginning, it was kind of, you could, the first episode 1 and episode 2, people were saying, oh my God, the Che character, it's a little bit cringe, and Miranda fallen for Che and all that, And I could kind of follow along because I also do believe that the acting was not really spot on with Che. Or maybe the chemistry isn't the best between Cynthia Nixon and Ramirez. I don't know. There's like something. But I'm okay with it, you guys. And honestly, and now when I said I'm okay with it, 50% are going to just like turn off this video. Oh, well, pity, because you're going to miss a interesting opportunity to share. Not the singer share, but to actually share. And that is, the more I watch these reviews from week to week, and the more I kind of realize that this hate for Che, it really does boil down not to the acting or to the fact that Miranda is kind of being, sneaky behind her husband's back. Or it doesn't even boil down to the fact that she's having an affair with another woman. No, because she's not having an affair with another woman. She's having an affair with a gender fluid person. And I feel like people out there actually really will never accept it to themselves. But what they have a problem with, I'm talking mostly about all those white people tearing the show apart. Mostly women of a certain age. White. Because Che is not a woman. Doesn't matter if the character is acted or not acted properly, if the actor involved is or is not the best actor chose. Doesn't matter. Bottom line. And don't say, oh no, because if a better storyline and a better blah, blah, blah actor was chosen, we would not have a problem with it. No, you would. You would have a problem with it. I bet my bottom dollar you would have a problem with a female character having an affair with a gender fluid character. I think that's the bottom line that a lot of people have a problem with this show. And I feel sorry for Che and also for Ramirez. I actually have all their names here because I'm really bad with names, you guys. Sarah Ramirez. They are not that bad an actor as everybody's portraying them to be. I don't know what everybody's issue is. I think this is a gender issue people are having. Michelle says, nope, I'm a woman of a certain age. Only issue is she is married. Get out of the marriage and go crazy if that floats your boat. Michelle, I concur. Let me give you a little tickle, a little love tickle. I completely agree with you. And Michelle, spoiler alert, of course, the title, thank you for subscribing, Violet Blue. Spoiler alert, the spoiler is already written in my title, so you know. But let me just say also within the video, spoiler alert for next week's episode, because I've seen the teaser for next week's episode. And Michelle, spoiler for episode 8, Che is gonna tell this to Miranda Rambo next week. Che is gonna tell Miranda, hey, I ain't a homewrecker. I ain't doing this. You clear your shit up and then come back to me. And this is an interesting point. Really interesting point. And thank you, Michelle, for bringing this up. Because we were led to believe in episode 6 that Miranda, sent the text message to Che. Says, hey, it's Rambo. Want to hang sometime? And now 3 weeks or 3 months have passed. 3 months have passed because Carrie wrote her book. So 3 months have passed from last week's episode, and Miranda still did not receive a reply. So finally at the auction where Carrie is being auctioned off, we get to actually have an interaction with Che for the first time. And Miranda, because Carrie asked Che to be, to do a little comedy act for the charity at the auction event for the school charity where Charlotte is involved in. Now, this is kind of a bit of a flaw in the writing because I thought to myself, wait, hold on a minute. So Carrie knows that Miranda is into Che and all these months, and she knows it's an issue for Miranda. And Carrie, it never crossed her mind to tell Miranda that Che would be there that night. That Che would actually come to do a comedy act that night. It never crossed Carrie's mind to tell Miranda, hey, Miranda, just letting you know, I invited Che to this event. That is so stupid. Sorry. That's like beyond the stupidity that even Carrie can deliver. And she can be really stupid. But this is a where you gotta say it. Because there's no way on this world that my best friend, that I would, first of all, Carrie knew that Miranda was hurt. I mean, for crying out loud, Miranda had the best sex of her life, so she says, in Carrie's kitchen while Carrie was in the bedroom. So Carrie knows. She's very well aware of what happened. She was there as it was happening. So to not have that sensibility to talk to her friend, her best friend about this, and to not have the sensibility to know how much this thing affected her friend, because Miranda re-explained it when they had picnic together. So we are all aware how important this is to Miranda. And so for Carrie, did she isolate herself for 3 months writing her book, so she never got to talk to Miranda in 3 months while she was writing her book? And hence, she couldn't know how much Miranda was suffering from this Che situation? Your best friend doesn't know you're going through this? Maybe they're not your friend then. So, for Carrie to not even warn Miranda that Che would have been at that event, it just makes no sense whatsoever. Now, so Julia says, I completely agree about the reviews. I actually saw a review with someone literally coughing, gagging about the Che scenes. I couldn't watch the rest of their review. That was a particularly nasty one. I think I know which one you're talking about. That one was nasty, especially because the hate is so dictated by the views and The views come in, the hate grows, ego gets boosted. And that's kind of the bottom line, and it's really sad to watch. Christina says, can we talk about how selfish Carrie still is? Poor Anthony also lost his husband, but she's all, my husband died, my husband died. It would be hilarious if Anthony played the my husband left me card. Really good point. Again, they were in a lot of stress because, as we know, Willie died. So in the show, he didn't die. In real life, he died. So in fact, all of a sudden, Stanford, who was Carrie's best friend, is gone. And Anthony, who was never friends with Carrie, he was actually he's Charlotte's best friend. He's Charlotte's gay best friend. Stanford is Carrie's gay best friend. Now that Stanford is gone, they didn't even give us an explanation as to why Anthony would become Carrie's best friend, but all of a sudden he's her best friend. And I don't buy that dynamic. I feel tension and friction between the two actors. I feel that the chemistry just isn't right. Also because they just rewrote the same part Willie would have had. Those are all segments that Stanford would have had with Carrie. And now, because Stanford isn't there, and Samantha isn't there, now we're giving Anthony that part. And Anthony has a different energy. Anthony's too aggressive for Carrie. That's why Stanford worked so well with Carrie, because Stanford is always the passive one. You know, he would be bitchy in his own special way, but he allowed Carrie to be on top. Be as a bottom. And Anthony, no. He's too, you know, and Carrie doesn't work well with those characters. Carrie Bradshaw says, Anthony is a bit of a leech, let's be honest, right? But on top of that, let's open up another little can of worms. One issue that I've had with Sex and the City back in the day, but also, and just like that, today, is that it really, they do not give gay men, I can't speak for lesbians, but I can speak for men. They don't give the gay men a good image. I do not feel well represented. I never did. I love the show, okay, but Anthony and also Stanford. I mean, Stanford had a really tender moment when he went to that underwear bar in the old show, where he kind of showed his vulnerability. I thought that was really cool. But most of the time, it's a cliche of homosexuality. It's a cliche of being gay men. And it really irks me that they cannot script in a non-over-the-top, cliche acting gay character. It's just, for the love of me, why can't they just have a normal behaving, you know, not always over dramatizing, not always, why does a gay character in Sex and the City always have to be a weird type of drama queen and a cliche, or like an extreme cliche? It's like a caricature of a gay person. And it's kind of sad because a lot of gay people, when they're very young, they're exposed to this type of media, and then they think, oh, that's how you have to behave. So a lot of people fall into that behavioral pattern, and gay people, and they also behave that way because they think that's cool. It ain't cool. Or the hysterical gay dads when Dr. Naya and her husband almost, you know, went over the crossroad thing, and the two gay dads with their baby. She stopped the car. She didn't hit them. But she just shared the news through Miranda that she was not pregnant after all. She got her period back. And so her husband is like, oh my God, I have to find out through your friend, through her text message to you, instead of finding it out from you. And she's driving the car. He's like, stop the car, red light. And she almost hits these two gay guys with their baby, with their toddler. And then the way that this gay guy attacked them, I get it. You're scared for your baby. I mean, mama bear, papa bear, like you turn into a monster to protect your kid. I totally understand the overreaction of a parent protecting their toddler. I understand overreacting in that case because your life is not important to you once your baby is being threatened. You lose control of yourself and you go into survival mode. I get that. What I don't accept is the caricature behavioral pattern they've given this gay father as he attacks them. It's such a cliche and it's terrible. Terrible. Carrie Bradshaw says, I have a toddler. Carrie, what do you mean you have a toddler? Oh, Todd. Wait, is his name Todd? I don't get it. Wait, what's the joke here? I'm too blonde for this. Um. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I have a toddler. Right, right, right. Yeah, it's the way the gay guy was like at the window. I have a toddler. I have a toddler. You know, and then even Naya made fun of him when he left. Then Dr. Naya was like, he has a toddler, you know, and I'm like, actually, yeah, good that you made fun of him because that was ridiculous. And so, why can't we have? And I know some of you are going to come from me in the comments and be like, look who's talking, girl. Talk about like behaving in a normal way for a gay person. Sure, you can come from me. I'm effeminate. I have many of the cliche gay traits. Guess why? Because I'm also a victim of this type of media, of this type of watching this content since I was a kid. So it's kind of imprinted into you. Not saying it's all bad, but I'm definitely saying the show, if they're so eager to showcase the variety, they want to be embracing of all the different cultures, genders, everything, everything. They want to make it right. Okay, well then make this right. Why didn't you make this right? Why did you fail on this level? And by the way, Michael Patrick King, the showrunner and the writer of the show, one of the co-writers of the show, is gay too. Does he behave like that? Because Mr. Michael Patrick King, when I hear you talk in your after the episode on YouTube in your writer panel, when all the writers meet together and they talk about the show, you don't sound ever in those panels like any of the characters you're writing in the show. You don't behave that way. You're gay. You don't behave that way. You don't talk that way. So why do you make your characters talk that way? See what I mean? So anyway, Carrie spends 3 months writing the book about the loss, finding her love and losing the love of her life. And she wants to, she brings it to her publisher. The publisher says, loves that, living for that, begging for that. But it's a little bit too dark, darling. So I want you to give a little bit of hope at the end of the book for your readers. Maybe tell the readers that you see the prospect of a future in which Carrie finds love again. So maybe you should go out on a date, and see how it is for you. And she could have just said, if you really want that to end the book, I could just write a chapter about. You're a writer. You can invent anything you want. You could literally say, oh, and just like that, I went on a date and everything was fine again and blah, blah, blah. There was hope again, blah, blah, blah. No, instead she really has to go on a date. Now that was also peculiar to me. I guess they had to put it in there that way to kind of make it very clear that, hey, we got to go back on the old, way that Sex and the City relied on dating. So we got to go back into that old pattern. So we're taking our good time, 7 episodes to get her back to dating. And now we're here. And so she's going to go on a date. And so she accepts it. She only accepts it like the good blonde hoe that Carrie is. She only accepts to do it once her publisher says, Oprah Winfrey might want to talk to you. Her book club might want to feature you. And because Carrie was like kind of having second thoughts, she's like, you know what? My book is really too dark. Maybe I should just keep it for myself. I'm not going to publish it. And the publisher says, Hunty, Oprah wants you maybe. And then she's like, oh, if Oprah wants me, okay, then I want to publish the book. I'm going to sell my soul to the devil, right? Because if Oprah says yes, we got to do this. Even though we feel in the depths of our hearts that we're not ready for it. And also another missed opportunity, let's throw some shade at Chanel. You know how they say, Chanel is advertising and promoting their fashion through their little book club with the elite the intelligentsia, the intellectual, the rich intellectuals of Paris and suburbia, their little book club. I think it's a missed opportunity. They should have said in Sex and the City, but the Chanel book club might want to feature your book in one of their episodes on their YouTube channel. And then Carrie says, well, if Chanel wants my book in there, then of course I'm going to write a nice chapter for them. But anyway, missed opportunity there. So Carrie does go, out on a date. And the guy is a teacher whose wife died of cancer. Carrie's husband died of a heart attack. They both feel super depressed. And Carrie says, let's get drunk. Cut to them exiting the bar, barfing their souls out. I thought that was hilarious. Now, I was eating a pizza when that happened, so I felt that the pizza was rebelling against me in that moment. And I said to myself, Dacob, you're going to eat this pizza no matter what. There's no Carrie Bradshaw barf that can stop you from eating this pizza. And I ate my pizza, and I swallowed it. And I was a proud pizza eater, and I did not barf the pizza. So the scene was funny. I know that barfing isn't everyone's cup of tea. To me, it was funny. Anyway, both super embarrassed for what had happened. But, of course, now we're, cut couple of scenes later. Carrie is at that charity event where Charlotte said, Carrie, I'm going to auction you off. It's for charity. You're going to go on a lunch date with whoever wins you at the charity. So at the charity event, it just so happens that this teacher guy is back again. And it just so happens that he is a math teacher who works in Charlotte's school. What were the coincidences and the chances? So anyway, he's there, she's there. There's a whole comedy of errors and running away from people like, we see in comedy movies and TV shows. And Anthony has to be sure that the guy leaves before Carrie is auctioned off. But Anthony loses track of the guy because Anthony gets his wee sucked in the bathroom by one of the caterers. Another one of those gay cliche moments. So that's the reason why he didn't keep an eye on the math professor, Dr. Puke or Professor Puke or whatever they called him. So anyway, embarrassing moment of LWT. Oh God, LWT. LTW. LTW, she co-organized the event with Charlotte. Their kids are both in the same school. LTW has issues with her husband because she's kind of trying to moderate the whole evening with her husband. She doesn't even know how to use the microphone. It's kind of embarrassing. He wants to leave. He has an early flight the next morning. She says, you got to stay till the end. You can't leave me alone. They have a fight in the bathroom. As they're having a fight, Charlotte passes by with her husband. Okay, what did we see here? And then LTW says, oh, now they're going to think we're those people that fight, blah. Now, rewind a couple of scenes prior when LTW was playing tennis with Charlotte. Weird that the whole episode begins after Carrie's book writing. Then we have that scene. Why did they have to show us Charlotte and LTW playing tennis against the other two chicks? And then they won. And I guess they wanted to show us how Charlotte never says sorry while she plays tennis. I don't know. Anyway, Charlotte's husband finds out that she went to play tennis with LTW. So Harry tells her hey, I bumped into LTW's husband. He said, you guys play tennis. We love to play tennis. Let's play tennis together. LTW, her husband, and you and your husband. And Charlotte says, okay, let's do that. So of course, then they go play tennis. And then there's an issue because Harry was mansplaining Charlotte how to play, how to not miss the ball. Charlotte then said to him, okay, you want to play that way? Let's play that way. So she, of course, kind of pushes him to the floor. He falls down. She catches the ball. They win the set. Now Harry says, well, why didn't you say sorry to me? You hurt me. You pushed me down. She's like, I'm not going to say sorry to you. This is the only place that I don't say sorry is when I play tennis. You've been mansplaining me. During the match, you told me how to catch the ball properly. You've been mansplaining me. You didn't apologize for that. And then when you mansplained me, I did what you told me to do. And now I got to apologize for hitting you, for making you fall. Girl, ain't going to happen. So he's super offended. He's like, just apologize. You've apologized 50 times today to other people randomly. People who bumped into you, you even apologize to, but you don't apologize to me. So LTW and her husband see Charlotte and Harry fight about this bullshit in front of that tennis court place. And so Charlotte says, oh my God, now they're going to think we're those people that fight aloud out on the street. Couple of scenes fast forward, back to the bathroom scene at the auction. They always have to do this every episode. They mirror LTW's life with Charlotte's life. Whatever happens to Charlotte also happens to LTW. Remember a couple of episodes ago when Charlotte invited LTW to her dinner party and she realized, oh my God, everybody invited to this dinner party is going to be white. She's going to be the only black person. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But then LTW can't come. And then LTW invites Charlotte to her party. And then Charlotte and Harry are the only white people at a party that only has black people there. So at the end of the episode, we find out that, Charlotte says, oh, I got to tell you something. I felt really bad because like my party, you would have been the only black people. I felt terrible. And then LTW said, oh my God, that's the same thing I thought about you. I thought you would be the only white people. Haha. They always mirror this and they're showing us like, look, the issues white people have, also black people have. And so kind of they did the same thing again this episode where like Charlotte and Harry fight in front of the tennis court. And then Charlotte says literally, now they're going to think we're those people, we're that couple. And then the same thing at the end of the episode, LTW and her husband, when they fight and Charlotte and Harry see them, then LTW says, oh great, now they're going to think we're that couple. And that's getting a little bit tired to me, that they're repeating the same tricks, Employ some new tricks. So anyway, back to Carrie being auctioned off. Charlotte made her, accept to be auctioned off. But of course, the committee that's deciding these things says, hey, Carrie Bradshaw is a sex writer and it's a date you're going to go on. So then Carrie's super upset. She's like, what the hell did you tell them? And then Charlotte screams out loud in the crowd, no, she writes about relationships and couples and it's not a date, it's a lunch. It's not a night date, it's during the daytime lunch date. So anyway, super embarrassing. Carrie stands on the podium. They auction her off. Nobody wants to buy her. Again, a little bit, this kind of comedy of errors where one person lifts the hand. So the guy, the auctioneer says $500, nobody wants her. He says $450, somebody lifts the hand. He said, oh good, $450 for you. And the guy says, no. I'm just lifting a hand because like a glass dropped here. Can you clean it up? So this comedy of errors going on the whole time at this party. And then of course, Charlotte makes it even worse by bidding herself twice, outbidding herself. Like she's not that stupid. She knows how auctions work. Why does she know how auctions work? Because she worked at an art gallery. She actually in the old show worked for auctions. She worked for auction houses. She knows how auctions work. Now all of a sudden they made her so stupid that she doesn't know how auctions work. That was really bizarre. Like her life was auctions, art auctions in the past, but apparently she lost it. Now she doesn't know how auctioning works. So she bids 700, then she bids 800, and then Carrie bids. This is so sad. The moment when Carrie said, you know what, I'm going to give you 1,000. Let's stop this torture. And of course, in that moment, we all knew it was going to happen. The teacher comes in and he bids 110 or 150. And he wins the bid and he's going to take Carrie out on a second date. And she says to him later on, hey, I'll give you back the money. You don't need to do this. He's like, no, I really want to do this. Let's have another date. They throw a couple of jokes in there like, oh yeah, the puke, that's blah, 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 vomit, ha, ha, ha. Let's do this for the kids. Okay. So they're going to go on a second date. Meanwhile, Miranda's storyline is still very much connected to Che. So we were talking about the puppy eyes, Miranda's puppy eyes. So she's with Carrie at the auction place. And then she hears Che and she says, oh my God, Carrie, you didn't tell me Che is there. Okay. And before Carrie can even explain anything, Miranda's gone. And Carrie's like, oh okay. Well, we're done talking here then. Che's comedy routine is not really happening. I mean, Che says, hey, you guys, made a joke about coming out. Me coming out took less long. Che said my coming out took less time than this auction. And then Che also says, don't worry. And I love how Che threw shade at themselves for not being that funny by saying, hey, don't worry, my routine is only going to last about 3 minutes because once they told me that I got to keep it clean for the family friendly ambient, I had to cut it down to 3 minutes. So that was kind of funny, I guess. I don't know. But then, whatever. The whole Che situation was made so that Miranda can meet Che again. Miranda sees Che. Miranda is upset with Che. Che says to Miranda, hey, what you doing, Rambo? You going away? Why you going away, girl? And Miranda's like, whatever, I'm cool. We're chill. You just didn't answer 3 months. Like, but we're cool. I don't care. Like, and then Che's like, you do care. What's the problem, girl? And then Miranda's like, well, I sent you this text, this DM. You never answered. And Che said, you sent me a DM? Oh, sorry. I don't know. I'm a very requested person. And then Miranda says, oh, I bet you is. I bet everybody wants you in their puseta. Like, Samantha. You have to bring Samantha into this. Oh, the puseta. Everybody wants you in their puseta. And then Che says, no. I mean, really, I get a lot of requests and DMs. It's a business. It's my business also, Instagram. And then Miranda says, oh, okay, I get it. And then Che says, yeah, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I want to tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want to really, 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 really want a zig zone. And then Miranda says, if you want to be my love. And then they end up in a hotel together and they have sex and we see Miranda's nipples. And yeah. And a lot of people have issues with this, with them, with Miranda being what she is, correction. It was a hand job, not a BJ in the bathroom. Right. Okay. Emiz Marcelova says it was a hand job, apparently, LOL. It still does not make it less of a cliche. You know what I mean? So, and there's that little kind of moment of them being in bed, and a lot of people had issues with it. I mean, it was the Spice Girls. It was literally the Spice Girls in bed and singing "If You Want to Be My Lover," and it was okay. It was what it is, right? But I know a lot of people are gonna have issues with this. I'm fine with this. It is what it is, you guys. Asia says, also, has anyone noticed the Lanvin cat bag Seema had placed at the table? Yes, Asia, I have noticed the cat Lanvin bag in brown, and that mustardy brown that Seema had at the table. This is an interesting point about that table scene, because it was kind of the first time that we see the three girls, Carrie, Charlotte, Miranda, dinner situation. There's no Samantha. And instead of Samantha, Seema is at the table with them. I listened to the podcast, the writer's podcast after the show on YouTube. And they said that, they were a little bit worried because they thought, is it too early to put Seema at the table with them? Like, has she earned that moment of being so in that intimate circle of being at the table with them? And they came to the conclusion that yes, time has passed, quite a bit of time has passed, and she has earned the place at that table. Debatable, honestly. I didn't feel it. I felt like she has earned her friendship with Carrie by now. But she hasn't earned her friendship with Charlotte and Miranda yet. We haven't seen any interaction with them, really. So for me, it felt like she was an intruder in that scene. Even though I love how she acts, she's great, all is good, Seema is wonderful. She's not Samantha yet. Now, Seema acknowledged, sorry, let me get the name right. I got my little list of names here. Sarita Chaudhuri said that it was incredible for her that she grew up watching Sex and the City, and now she's like she lived watching Sex and the City back in the day, and now she's sitting with them at one of those famous table scenes, and she just couldn't believe her eyes, and she said that she was super nervous, that she thought that it would show on camera how nervous she was to be there with them, but then the writers told her, no, you looked amazing, you did not show it at all, you were super confident, it was great, and it works well in that scene. She's cool, calm, collected, makes the right joke, delivers the little sexual moment that Samantha would have delivered. I mean, she's basically substituting Samantha bit by bit. Yeah, they're trying at least. So she said that she put Carrie on the market. Carrie needs to start dating again. And so she made a couple of profiles, date profiles on apps for her, but then she narrowed it down just to one. And yeah, she said, well, since we're around St. Valentine's Day, whatever, there people aren't buying houses right now, so I put you on the market instead. Ah, little joke. Seema is the difference between Seema and Samantha. Seema is a cat, like a luscious panther. She is not one of those hysterical house cats that are bitchy. And they just, when you tell your cat, like, don't push that off the table, and then the cat pushes it off the table anyway because a cat is a bitch. Seema is not that cat. She is and in fact, good that you mentioned the Lanvin bag, because that Lanvin bag has a cat on it. And it is a polka, I think it's a jaguar or something. But it's one of those bigger cats. And the bigger cats aren't bitches like the little teeny tiny domestic cats are. So that bag represents who Seema is. She's that panther. And Samantha Jones is not a panther type of cat. Samantha is cool, but Samantha, believe you me, she's more of a dog than a cat. She is. I know that she couldn't stay faithful to certain guys. She had her issues with them and then she would move on. But she's more of a sexual dog. And Seema is more of a sexual cat. And this is why these two, they're not the same. You know what I mean? Seema cannot come in and be Samantha. She feels too much of a big feline. Majestic, regal, very elegant. Seema is never, as much as they give her some lines to make her sound like she's also a little bit a hoe, like Samantha used to be, she just isn't. Seema always comes across as noble and elegant. While Samantha Jones, Samantha does that, oh, I'm a whore and I'm proud of it. Samantha would push that ratchet hoe, that ratchet hoe moment, and she'd be proud of it. Seema is not that. It just isn't. So that's why that's no substitute. Yeah, different archetypes, Mikey. That's exactly the point. Carrie Bradshaw says, a dog humping the legs of society. Right? So I'm just saying, Carrie, did she have a panther on her bag? Panthers are like also called cougars in Florida. Also interesting that it's a cougar. A cougar had a cougar on her bag. They're not spotted. Panthers are usually black, but that handle thing had dots on it. So the Lanvin bag had dots. But I think they chose the cat because that reflects the cat on the bag on that table for Seema. They chose that because it reflects Seema's character. Ollie says, I love Seema's sincerity and slight sweetheart. Like Sam, there's a touch of insecurity under the outward confidence. Yes, for sure, they have similarities. But like Mikey said, different archetypes. Now, Carrie does agree to go on a second date with the... what's his name? I don't even know. You guys, does anybody know the name of the teacher at this point? Because he's not on my list here, because he's not really a recurring character. But I don't know. The puking teacher that she went out with. So she's going out with him again, and we see her going back to her house. So we are back at where we began the episode. We're back in her house. Alexa says, to me, Peter, the teacher, is a new reason to love the show. Oh, Alexa, are you into Peter? Peter from Family Guy or Peter from the show? Peter is very attractive, says Amizi. Puking Peter, says Anna. Oh my God, that sounds like a Garbage Pail Kid. You guys, is Peter the actor? Isn't he the guy who was gonna marry, that other starlet singer? But then they broke up. I don't even mention her name. I don't want to. But wasn't he dating her for a certain period of time and then they broke it off? That's him, right? Mm-hmm. Alexa says yes. Okay, so that's him. All right. Anyway, so she's back home. We're at the window, and she said had done hers. We end the episode with Carrie saying, "And just like that, I found a glimmer of hope." Now, I was hoping that because in episode 6, her "and just like that" did not end the episode. She said it more into the show before the end. I was hoping that this time her voiceover would happen even more into the show, not at the end. But they brought it back to the end again. I was like, what a missed opportunity. You should have slowly faded in her talk over moments more and more and more. Last episode, you gave it to us before the end. Now go even more deep into the show. But they didn't. They failed. They did it at the end of the episode. So, and just like that, I found a glimmer. And just like that, I found a glimmer of hope. Closes the episode, and just like that, the episode was over. But I gotta say, okay, I thought the guy that broke up with a sticker with Carrie would somehow come back, but he didn't. Oh, that was Burger. Burger. Oh, actually, post-it note, not sticker. Yeah, on a post-it note. Anna says, Peter, but it's just about the looks. The only thing we know about him is that his wife is dead and he teaches math. That's the character's story. That's it. Yeah, that's it. No, dear. I'm talking not about the character. I'm talking about the actual actor, the real person. He used to be dating a starlet. Connect the dots. You know, for me, she's like Voldemort. I'm never going to mention her name. So you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. I think that they were dating a couple of years back. However, in the beginning of the episode, I think there was Carrie's voiceover when she was reading her book to the publisher. Um, oh, okay, he didn't date. Okay, thank goodness for that, because they do look similar. They do look similar. Uh, Mikey says, I enjoy and just like that a lot. Just spending time in their universe, even if it's weird parallel universe of Sex and the City. How did you like this episode overall? Okay, so I'm getting to the conclusions now. Miranda. Why people say that Cynthia Nixon doesn't know how to act. To me, she's brilliant. She acts wonderfully. She delivers the same comedy, the same timing of comedy that she did in Sex and the City. I remember because I laughed the same way. When she drops a funny line and says something embarrassing about herself, I laugh like crazy. Like, it's the same Cynthia Nixon. She's not become a bad actress. So whoever says that she's become a bad actress is because somebody has issues that her character is infatuated by a gender fluid person. Okay. Justice for Steve. You've been saying. And also I want to touch base on Charlotte's long tennis dress. But it was fine for me. The tennis attire, the rich ladies playing tennis attire was okay. Unnecessary moment to have them play twice, but I guess it was important to build up the Demi Lovato moment. I don't know why Charlotte had to emphasize the T when she says, as Demi Lovato would say, sorry, not sorry. The dress was fine. I don't understand why LTW had to wear those weird glasses the first time she played tennis, but then the second time she played, she didn't have them on. So I guess she had maybe the first, I don't know why. Why? Because the first time those were like glasses, ophthalmic glasses, because she didn't have her. Why would she actually wear that? Because I'm thinking to myself, the second time she played tennis, she didn't wear any glasses. So maybe she had contacts in. But you don't wear contact lenses when you're playing tennis because they can pop out and then you got a problem. You know what I mean? So I didn't understand why they made her wear those weird glasses the first match, and then the second match they didn't. Charlotte's outfit was fine for me during the tennis match. And now justice for Steve. So I agree with you guys. I think Steve deserves better, definitely, because they've been through so much together. And the fact that she's annoyed by him being so clumsy and forgetting his wallet. The fact that they wrote that in, that he's not just deaf, he's also now forgetting his wallet everywhere. And the fact that you know, Carrie and Miranda talk about, well, maybe you could revitalize your sex life by kind of, trying it with him again. And what we see, I don't know if she tried several times with him, but what we see on camera is just one try. And that one try, she really put zero effort into it. So I would have kind of liked to see, or not to see, but at least to hear. And not just by saying, oh, we tried it all. I want her to tell me then. Oh, we've tried it here, there, then, and it never worked. But instead, we get to see a very clumsy attempt at her trying to, because it felt to me like she didn't really want to try to reawaken the sexual relationship between her and Steve. What she was trying to do was to use Steve to make him deliver the feelings that she felt when Che gave her the orgasm. So to me, that isn't trying. To me, that's kind of using your husband to get to feel something that somebody else made you feel. So I felt that arc was not honest enough towards Steve, because if Miranda were to really try, she would need to try a bit harder than just to use him to make her feel like Che made her feel. Because he's not Che. He's not Che. He's Steve. And so, but then again, what is true to her character, just like in the OG Sex and the City, she could be brutal and mean to guys when she feels insecure. And she's being mean to Steve. It's like an earthquake waiting to happen. And in fact, again, spoiler alert for next week's episode, as Che tells Miranda, hey, I'm no homewrecker. You clear your shit up with your husband, you divorce or do what you got to do. But until then, I don't want to do this anymore. And then we see Miranda telling the girls, I'm going to talk to Steve about this, like now or tomorrow or whatever. And then we have a short scene of her sitting with Steve together on a couch, and she's about to tell him everything. So justice for Steve might happen next week. It also might not, but at least there's the intention of Miranda coming clean to Steve and telling him, this ain't working for me. It's not just that, you aren't working with me. It's also that I'm realizing that maybe men are not what I want or what I need anymore. So let's see how that conversation is going to go, but they will be confronting it at least. So Steve will get his justice, I believe. He also cheated on Miranda in the past, so it's not like she's doing something that he didn't do before. She's doing it too. So there is this complication that we're having, and Steve is not given really any plausible airtime thus far. He is almost a caricature of himself in this new show. But then again, all the men are, Mr. Big died in the first episode. Stanford left. He would have still been in the show if Willie didn't pass away, but also he faded. Steve doesn't hear and doesn't even remember where he left his wallet anymore, so he is reduced to really a caricature of himself, so they're making him fade. Harry, this strong lawyer, is a baby who is so upset that his wife cannot say sorry, that his insecurities revolve completely around ego. So he's being reduced to a crumb of himself. So all the men, and then Naya's husband, we don't know, if his semen is not active enough, or if her reproductory system isn't working properly. But again, he's the guy who can't deliver the baby. That's how he's, and he wants it so desperately, but it ain't happening because Naya doesn't really even want a baby anymore. So even he's a new character. Even he's being kind of pushed down. LTW's man, he's kind of the strong one who's a politician. He wants things to happen. He's maybe the tougher one of the guys who's like kind of still has some sort of manlyhood given to him by the writers. But the core three characters, men, they're fading. So I guess they have to make them fade if these three women are to have another sex life again, and if they're to start dating again. So they have to delete Steve. How are they going to get rid of Harry? Are they ever going to get rid of Harry? Harry might remain in the new show because Charlotte wants the conservative life. Charlotte doesn't want to start dating again. I mean, unless they don't bring back the conversation, why would they randomly pardon me, drink some water. Why would they randomly talk about Harry's colonoscopy, whatever he had to do, and then they had to reschedule it? He never got his results from that colonoscopy, whatever oscopy he had to do. There might be some, cancer going on there. He might get sick. We might lose him as well by next season. So it feels like they're trying to get rid of the men so that the girls can have a new Sex in the City. Anna Spatar says, the voiceover disappeared because it takes creativity to write another page of script, and they must be smart and witty. Let's be real, that's not happening within Just Like That. I miss the OG writers so much. I mean, it's a very legitimate thing you're saying, and I understand it. I miss them too, but at the same time, finally, because I still had to touch base on all of these topics before I answered Mikey's question, what do I feel about this episode, Mikey? I still loved this episode. And, I loved this episode. And I'm going to touch base more on it. But Jackie says, Steve was sexy. We know that he was good in bed. So what happened? They did him dirty, says Jackie 26. But guys, why do you think people can't change over time? Are we always going to be the same person? And I couldn't help but wonder, were we always meant to remain the same people? Things can change. To me, Steve is still sexy in this show as a man. He kept himself together. He came through the lockdown pretty well. He's in shape. He's in form. He's still muscly. He's still that tight Steve we know, even though the Steve we know doesn't have one ball. They took one of his, he had testicle cancer, so they took one ball out. They took a testicle out. So maybe that also lowered his libido. Maybe he's just, living with one testicle. Maybe they took out both. So maybe at a certain point, he by now he doesn't have either one of the two. Maybe his libido is just not there anymore. I mean, I don't know, but things happen, you guys. Time changes people also. Daddy Steve, says Paris. I mean, I loved the episode. I know a lot of you didn't like it, but I'm not going to be that person that's going to keep throwing shade at this show just because it's kind of popular to throw shade at it. It had its moments. It had its funny moments. It had its not so funny moments. It had its good writing moments and its bad writing moments. Bottom line, you guys, Sex and the City used to be cringe back in the day. It was always cringe. You would watch every episode for the cringe sex moments, for the cringe talking about it moments, for the cheap jokes that would be thrown into the room. And we lived for it. We were begging for it. Now we're getting this on an even higher level of cringe and cheapdom. And for me, it works. It's embarrassing. And that's kind of how the OG show was as well when it first aired. The episodes were embarrassing. It was meant to make you feel uncomfortable in a certain way. And the new episodes also deliver that uncomfort. Whether that uncomfort comes because you think that the writers are cringe, or because, like I think, the cringe in my case, or, the moments come from just the situations these characters put themselves in or are put in. But the situations were hilarious also back in the day. Now, I'm not saying that there are these loose situations that are super funny today. No, they're a little bit more conservative, but then these ladies are older now. Not saying, oh my God, they're too old to date. No, I'm just saying older than they were 20 years ago. It's okay that they're older. And it's all, quite frankly, it's also okay to tone it down a notch. You don't have to be a crazy mofo partying yourself to death every night in your 50s if you don't feel like it. And it's okay that you don't do it. And you rediscover your identity and your personality in a different way in a different decade of your life. That's okay too. And guess what? It's also okay to acknowledge that because change does happen. Now, they're acknowledging this change in many different ways. In some of the ways that they're acknowledging it, it's positive. And they're saying, well, there's benefits to aging. And then in other ways, they're showing us, well, there's also the downside of aging, which is also true. So both are true, the pros and the cons. So I enjoyed this episode thoroughly. I really did. I really did. I'm super looking forward to next week's episode. Honestly. Julia said, I loved it. Honestly, I've been loving it. Carrie Bradshaw says, I'm just reserving my energy for the heel wearing. Yes, darling. You need that energy to wear those heels and walk down Manhattan with it. Mikey Otto says, Cringe is the new anything, says Parasamaro. Oh, yes, darling. Totally. Jack says, I don't think I go a single day without cringing, either at myself or remembering past situations. Me too. As I said, Cringeosaurus Rex here. Mikey Otto says, we need something monumental to happen soon. Big's death and Samantha's absence need to be topped by something amazing. Something this season will stand for in the end. Sorry, Mikey, it's not going to happen. Unless they don't bring Samantha back as Madonna. In the end, Samantha returns from London. It's either Joanna Lumley or Madonna. Madonna, but of course, because Samantha's coming back from London, I want Madonna with her terrible British accent when she tries to be posh. I want that Madonna to be Samantha. It would make that would top it off. Recasting Samantha. Why not? They recasted Dumbledore's whatever frickin' name, frickin' frack. Johnny Depp from Fantastic Beasts. By the way, Disney, shame on you for doing that. How dare you? But anyway, living in New York City the past 15 years as well, says Donnie. This show's progress makes a lot of sense to me. This city's changes and stays the same simultaneously. This is a good point, Donnie, and I agree with you. That's why I feel also like they're not veering off of the reality of Sex in the City. If you take away Samantha from the equation and you age these women into their 50s, this is how they would evolve character-wise. And it's fine the way it is. I know Violet Blue. I know Madonna is not a good actress. But that would be so amazing. You know how she is. You know how she acts too much and, it would be hilarious to have Madonna in the show. But she's too much of a diva. I think she would be too complicated behind the scenes and she would always demand extra attention. And she's just a pain in the butt to work with. But, yeah. Sharon Stone could play Samantha's sister, says Jake Be Good. Oh, why not? Jesus says, did anyone try the chicken? I thought the chicken was lovely. Okay, what chicken are you talking about? Is it, oh gosh, don't even get me started on the Johnny Depp situation. No one can compare to his talent in acting. Yeah, it was just ridiculous what they did. Disney should be ashamed of themselves. And they take away Johnny Depp from the new Fantastic Beasts movie because of that little scandal that was happening that he was, allegedly isn't even guilty for. So Disney's too good for that. But at the same time, Disney keeps his figure in the Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean ride at Disneyland. Like the double standard Disney that you're doing. Oh, we can keep him there because that brings in a lot of money, but we're not going to use him for the new Dumbledore thing. I'm like, girl, Disney, you are so embarrassing yourself. It's beyond. Really, I've come to, I despise them. I loathe them because they're so disgusting how they deal with everything and the franchises that they destroy. They destroyed Star Wars too. Oh, don't even get me started on it. Thank God for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau for bringing back the essence of Star Wars, which is Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. You best believe. Anyway, we're off topic. Off topic. I enjoyed seeing Carrie full out laughing scene with PETA. It reminded me of the funny Sex and the City with Mr. Big. Yeah, they're trying to bring that. Will Seema find somebody by the end of the season? Maybe that's going to be the twist. Maybe Seema ends up with Peter. What a way to end with a blast. Could you imagine if Peter kind of falls in love with Seema and leaves Carrie, and then Carrie's now angry with Seema? And they would never do that. But I would do that. That would create a little bit more tension, friction, friction. Unique Rivera says Sharon Stone plus Kim Cattrall. I am for it. I'm in for it. Jizza says I'm quite Goldie from Flavor of Love. Okay. Style Me Yemi. Is Miranda hair a wig? Yes. Miranda's hair is a wig, and we see it quite often. We see that it's a wig. Now, why? I don't know. Maybe that's going to be the moment. Maybe she's going to go back to Ginger. She's going to be Ginger Rambo by the end of the season. And that's going to be kind of the woo moment. I don't know, but she is wearing a wig. She's wearing a wig. And I mean, like, budget. Why that wig? Because, like, you see, the best place where you can see that it's a wig is the picnic scene. Because they use a lot of natural light there as well. So you kind of, it's not really glued on properly. And the roots, you don't really see any scalp. It's like so thick at the roots. So you see that it's a wig. But you guys, it's nothing special just for Sex and the City. Usually in movies for women, longer hair, because men usually have short hair. But for women that have longer hair, they use wigs because they can stiffen them they can glue them in that position so that the hair doesn't change when they have like long days of shooting, so that the continuity of the hair stays the same, because it's kind of hard to keep natural hair, that your own hair in that place. So for continuity reasons, wigs help a lot. But then again, you could say, well, why didn't they put a wig on Carrie? Well, on Carrie, because most of the time they tied her hair in a bun really tight. Charlotte, although Charlotte's waves, you see how like they don't really move. Hairsprayed for the gods. It's usually for continuity purposes, but with Miranda's wig, they proved the point at the first episode saying, I'm letting my white hair grow out. I want to show my age. So they kept that white thing. But then when Cynthia Nixon gives interviews, she has also white hair. Kinda, but cut short, and she looks fabulous with it. They should have given Miranda that haircut. Maybe they will. Maybe at the end of the show, she cuts her hair off. That's the last episode. And we have her with the short hair, living her, more butch realness, which, by the way, looks fabulous on her. But I don't know. Maybe that's going to be a moment. I remember there were pics from shooting where she had red hair on the street in a scene with Brady. Maybe that's going to come back. Maybe it was one of those scenes they shot to trick us. Who knows? Who knows? Odyssey says, I'm really waiting for a second season. I'm waiting too. Jack says, didn't you see the leaked photos? No, I did not see the leaked photos of Miranda with red hair. I'm hoping for a season 2 as well, but a lot of people are thinking that there's not going to be one because of all the criticism. But then again, I think to myself, every bit of criticism or positive reviews is good promotion for the show. Bottom line, I think HBO wants to see, are the views there? Are enough people watching? If enough people are watching, they're going to keep making more money. So that's what it all boils down to. Now, if the show is receiving criticism for all the wrong reasons, and I do believe that a lot of the criticisms this show is receiving is for all the wrong reasons, then keep going with the show. Just what? People don't have their old Sex and the City. Bitch, you have your old Sex and the City. Go buy the DVD and Blu-ray set and watch your old Sex and the City. This is something new. Is that so hard to understand? This is something new. You don't like something new? Buy yourself the old DVDs and keep watching something old and shut the F up. And don't spoil it for the rest of the people out there. You know what I mean? Anyway, Curiosity Killed the Cat. We are all watching, says Daniela Bella. Exactly. And I think, you know what I always say? Haters are just lovers with a frown upside down. Or with a smile upside down because they want to frown. Now, I believe that secretly all those really major haters of the show, they're just so obsessed with the show that they actually love it, but they just are not allowed to admit it openly because they have a following that only likes to watch them say bad things about the show. But secretly, they're obsessed with it. They're like living for it. They're like living for it, dying for it, begging for it. But they just, they're just caught in that whirlwind of like, oh well, I'm doing negative reviews and that's how I get all the views. So I got to keep hating the show. I got to keep finding new ways to define the hate I have for this show, which is like so cringe. Girl, that's more cringe than the actual show. So, just my 2 cents. Take them with a pinch of salt if you may. Mm. Donnie Barrios Mason says, Dacob on point. Get the box set and be in or out. Yeah, it's as easy as that, girl. Get yourself the Blu-ray set and enjoy Samantha, enjoy Carrie, enjoy all the fuckery. Love it. Living for it. Okay, fine. That's fine. This is called And Just Like That. This is not called Sex in the City. It's a different thing. Life happens. Really, in real life, life happens. People die. People move on. Friendships don't last forever. And you live on. You go on. Like Sophia Petrillo would say in The Golden Girls, you know, when the girls were fighting and then they all wanted to, Rose, Dorothy, Blanche, they were fighting and they wanted to move away from each other. They didn't want to be together anymore in the house. And then they even went to therapy. And even the therapist said, I love how the actors, you're incompatible. How he pronounced incompatible. You're incompatible. He like added a couple of H's there. You're incompatible. Oh, waste yourself the money. Don't come to therapy anymore. Just move away from each other. And then they're kind of sad. And they're like, thank you, doctor, for letting us know. And then Sophia says, I knew you were a quack because if you were a real doctor, you would have been leading us on for months to earn the money. And then they all go back home super sad. They're about to all break up. And then they realize that actually what keeps them together is that, as Sophia puts it, so ever so delicately, not, she's like, we're three women in the twilight years of our lives. We keep eating and fighting and eating, and then we fight and then we eat. Every time I look around, one of you is eating. We have a lot in common. So life happens, and it's the cheesecake that unites the girls. Cheesecake, pizza, and a crispy chicken. And with that, with the Golden Girls, which are the OG Sex and the City girls, aren't they? I bring this funny review to a close. And just like that, the Golden Girls kept proving themselves the OG Sex and the City. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know I'm a little bit like pros and cons, like ups and downs. It's like, I don't like this, but I love that. I kind of like this. I really hate that. I'm kind of okay with this. I adore that. So, because every episode, and you guys, it's because of the ups and downs through every episode. It's because of that I love it so much, because it really takes me on a roller coaster ride, and I'm here for that, really. I wouldn't want it to just be all up there. Pun, sexual innuendo, funny moment, pun. No, I like the fact that it goes really deep and it gets really depressing, especially when they could talk about Big dying, and then it goes really up there when like where Miranda's being fingered while Carrie pisses herself. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride, you guys. And so there's ups and downs. And because there are, I review the show like that as well. I review the show through my emotions, and my emotions have ups and downs as well. So I hope you appreciate that. Take it for what it is. I mean, but I'm living for it, you know. Piss Morgan are the best. You guys, Miranda was fingered in the kitchen while Carrie peed herself in the bedroom. Like, this is funny. I mean, to me, it's funny. And just like that, Finger Me New York. Oh, the new movie, the third movie. Yeah, that's a different kind of movie, though, Carrie Bradshaw. Ooh, that's a different kind of movie. Tickle, tickle. Tickle, 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 Carrie. Tiffany says, I've had to keep leaving due to a family. And I keep missing I miss her. Oh, no, but no worries. I'll definitely watch the repost. Tiffany, don't you worry. I got you covered. The repost is coming tomorrow. Just like we're here for our friends. Our generation really has built a true relationship with these women. Oh, we totally have. We totally have. Carrie, you're rubbing. Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. I'm just supposed to rub around it, right? Wait, just around it, not. Oh my God. And there you go. You got your overly cringe moment at the end of this episode. I hope it was worth the wait. You get. We are really united by cringe. I know. And just like that, we were all united by cringe. Love you all. Bye.